Sanbonani Dimilang and welcome to Expressions. Dimlo Kolosa Kalubisi uMahlongoti. Kanti ke mbukeli uMzantsi Afrika ujongene nengxabakaxake xa kumqhaka nalapho mbukeli sibona ubundlobongela buquba nabantu babulawa umhla nezolo. The violence is driven by gang wars, armed robberies and zama deadly theft. Kunjalo nje ke mbukeli umongameli welu Cyril Ramaphosa has declared organized crime the nation's biggest threat and announced the deployment of troops to the Western Cape and Gauteng provinces. Kanjalo mbukeli nakwindawo ezikumandla wase Eastern Cape. Kunjalo nje lamajoni azawuthi qolo ebila esoma uqinisekisa into kubana asiphula nengcambu igang and illegal mining. Kanti ke mbukeli umqulunqi wethu usigathereshelele up sound masirhabule sifinxe.
Have authorized the deployment of the SANDF elements to support the South African Police Service in a targeted offensive against brazen criminality, illegal mining, and the ruthless gangs that continue to wreak havoc amongst our communities. From the Cape Flats to Gauteng, our message is clear. The rule of law will be enforced and the safety of our citizens will be ensured. Even in the Eastern Cape, in the northern areas, we will make sure that we root out the gangs. We will make sure that we root out those who have sought to capture our police and weaken it. This deployment is a shield for the vulnerable, so that a child in Nyanga, in El Dorado Park, or New Brighton, or in the northern areas in Port Elizabeth, can walk to school without the shadow of a bullet haunting their steps.
Leyo ke mbukeli intetho kamongameli Cyril Ramaphosa ngethuba ke mbukeli benikeza intetho ngobume besizwe kuyo isola. To help me unpack this discussion in studio, we are joined by Nicoline Trom, who is a Westville Village activist. Kananjalo ke mbukeli sinaye Mr. Tabanga Buhupa, who is a security and crime expert from UNISA. Lady and gents, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Expressions.
Thank you for having us.
Nicoline, ndifuna uqala ngawe kuba usuka kwindawo yase Westville and siyaqonda it's been the center of crime. Kudala sibona illegal mining, izamazama, and nabantwana bangamantombazana badlwengulwa during a music video. And reacting to umyalelo kamongameli, do you think this is real protection okanye ba-actor xa sele umonzakalo usenzekile?
Kolosa, you would know that in South Africa we've got that pandemonium of acting when things have really turned out of control. We did have soldiers deployed in West Village some time ago. I think it was in 2023, and no change was made. Deploying the soldiers comes in two ways. Actually, this whole thing, we need to look at it in two ways as a country, whether it being a problem or it being an economical hub for the country. If we look at it as a problem, then it needs to be dealt with such in terms of the SANDF taking over. Yeah. But how are they going to take over? Are they going to take over because the police does not have the capacity to deal with illegal mining, and because the police are compromised, as per the Madlanga Commission had revealed? Or are the soldiers going to go into the shafts where the police are unable to reach?
Yeah.
If then that's the case, then we welcome that as a community, that go into the mining shafts where the police are not able to reach, not on the surface, not on the ground, because then that's a fruitless exercise.
And what does this say about our police? I mean, especially xa sijonga wena Tabanga indlela abasebenza ngayo, because abanye bayathi into yokubana this weakening confidence and public trust on the police. I mean, you will remember that history is repeating itself. In 2019, we had soldiers deployed at Cape Flats. For a short while, siubonile umohluko, but Londo zange produce long-term results. Is this likely to produce results as bonakalayo long-term specifically?
Thank you so much, my sister. Post Madlanga and the ad hoc would say that some of the criminal elements within the policing might have been rooted out a bit. Then that tells us that if the operational command management of this deployment focuses on the primary perpetrators of all these offenses, we might get to a solution. What do I mean? If these young men are recruited by Tabang, Tabang says to 100 young men, go and do this and that, I supply them with money, with drugs and weapons. The soldiers must not focus a lot on these boys. They must come to Tabang. Go and hit this Tabang. If there's illegal miners, who are these young men selling these minerals to? That is the main perpetrator. And if the command center of this deployment focuses on reaching the main person, the main perpetrator, who can, when you arrest 50 today, attract other 50 tomorrow. If they were to focus on that person, perhaps we might yield better fruits.
And police are trained differently than soldiers. Soldiers on police, they have to do the whole investigation. Because one of the residents from Cape Town raised the main root causes, there's high rate of unemployment, our education system, the poverty.
That's why I said we need to look at it in two ways.
Yeah.
If we're going to look at it as an economical hub, but now the problem is that where illegal mining is concerned, a lot of our zamazamas, they are not from the country. They are people from Lesotho, people from Mozambique, people from Zimbabwe. So if you then say that we look at it as an economical hub, which economical hub is it for? Because it is definitely not from the country. And then if we look at it that way, then the Department of Mineral and Energy should then be coming on board, that how are they going to regulate these mine shafts?
Yeah.
Are they regulating it so that the South Africans that are unemployed, the youth that is unemployed, should be able to gain something? Because we need a holistic and pragmatic approach to curb the rate of unemployment in the country.
Now let's talk about the budget cost, because recently there was a commemoration for Armed Force Day, which was commemorated in Thohoyandou. I mean, remember, Thohoyandou floods, and there was a lot of commotion around the budget that was spent. We're talking about close to 200 million only on a day of commemoration. Now, no minister inokotongwana table imali ezawusetyenziswa to fight a crime, and it's millions and millions. Is it worth it?
You mean the commemoration or the budget allocation?
The budget allocated for soldiers.
Of course, if the soldiers assist in ensuring public safety and security, it would be worth it. Remember, there's no economic activity that can thrive where there's no peace and security. So you can look at other countries. They are unable to thrive simply because there's no peace and security. Now, the only challenge that we are going to come across is the corruption element. President might have the best and the brilliant interest of this country to say, I'm deploying the security forces under chapter level of the Constitution to all go and focus on getting rid of crime. But the implementers who might be part of the corruptees or the corruptors, they are going to make sure that they destroy the entire good activity that was supposed to yield better results for the community. So what I'm saying is that you've seen in the news that there's military generals who are implicated in millions, hundreds of millions of corruption. So if such people are still going to be entrusted with the responsibility to implement this operation, we might not yield the results. But if it was to be restored, then people would go out, people would work, people would sell on the streets when it is safe for them.
Nicolene, what do you say? Because this is just a strategy since we are approaching local government elections.
History tells us where there's money involved in our country, corruption is the key. I mean, it's at the hem of it. This money will definitely not yield fruitful results, and it definitely will not be for the betterment of the country.
Yeah.
And it definitely is the strategy for the local
government elections. 64 million was spent during the 2019, but ndifuna siyibambele apho because I mean kusekuninzi esizawuthetha ngakho. Right, Mbukeli, we continue with the discussion. What is it that you have to say about inkqubo yanamhlanje nale ngxoxo sinayo? Be sure to interact with us on our social media platforms. For now, Mastikwi Evenkileni, you're watching Expressions. Welcome back. You are still tuning into your number one news show. This is Expressions. We're of course still talking about deployment of soldiers to high crime areas. Kanti ke mbukeli sizawuthi sidlana indlebe nomuntu omtsha uKhanyisa Zangqa, who is a victim of crime and unfortunately mbukeli wade wabe kanti ulahlekelwa ngumsebenzi kwindawo yasePhilippi eKapa. Kanti ke mbukeli uyaqonda ukukhumbula ubana indawo lena ephezulu yobundlobongela. Khanyisa, masibulise sikwamkele and thank you so much for joining us up at Expressions.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Khanyisa, siyaqonda ukubana nawe ulixhoba elobundlobongela kunjalo nje wade wabe kanti ulahlekelwa ngumsebenzi. Enxolo kakhulu ngalonto. Khawusixelele into yokubana wava njani kwaye ungatsho into yokubana yachaphazela njani yonke lo meko.
Well, sisam ndikhulele ePhilippi. So in the crime, ndafika ePhilippi ndina 6 years old. Ndifike Eastern Cape. But in the crime, iye imanyuka. Like nam ndikwi community development space. I'm a community development practitioner. So in the crime ePhilippi ndichaphazele kakhulu, like from ukhula kwam, but ngoku kula maxesha like early 2020 until now, iye yandichaphazela kakhulu. So indlela endiluze ngawo umsebenzi, uboss wam i-office zethu bezisePhilippi village, indawo esePhilippi, in the heart of Philippi. So my boss had to come to emsebenzini wethu every now and then. And there was a time after I don't know if you know, in the smash and grab, Philippi village, because the Philippi village in Abanda means that are bringing resources a Philippi. So boss is one of those people. So the organization here was assisting young people at risk. Abanda who do not have jobs, who are not in education, who are not in training, who are unemployed. So the police station benza into esibiza ngoba community listening. So in 2022 kwaye kwenzeka into yoba ubhosi wam wathi sizoqala kwinyanga uba sizawuqala i-training yabantwana. Wabethwa ke imoto yakhe. It was smash and grab. Wabethwa naye. She was injured. Wabethwa nomntanakhe, which was traumatic for them. So kwenzeka ke ngoku abakwazi uphinda bamane besiya ePhilippi.
Yeah, and ndiyafuna ukuqonda wethu Khanyisa because uthetha ngemsebenzi omhlubu wenza kwi-community development. Ndiqinisekile into yokubana abanye babantu abazinikela kwi-gang related violence basuka kwalapha ePhilippi. Ungathi mhlawumbe njengokuba usebenza iingxaki ezingundoqo ezibangela into yokubana abantu abatsha bazinikele ekubeni babulale benze zonke izinto bezisukela phi ingakumbi apho ePhilippi?
Well, because I'm very big on mental wellness, and I have this conversation because I've been in the industry for 20 years now, with the industry and the community development. One of the biggest issues is not having enough support with community. Yes. Like back in the day, and when these kids got involved with the community, we're very supportive of the because we always focus on the kids or the boys, but there's actually people behind these issues. So if we are looking at abantwana who are committing this crime, we have the people who are behind, who are actually the bosses, then we are not going to be able to combat crime because abantwana so yeah.
And Kaba, for someone mhlawumbe uhlale Eastern Cape okanye apha eGauteng siyaqonda into yokubana uniphila ubomi bontshontsho ude watsho omnye wathi kunzima nokuba aye eshop because akazi nokuba angafunyanwa yimbumbulu. Ngosuku nje luba njani usuku ulapha ePhilippi?
Sikunzima yabani buhlale papa shop ndiyaqheba umzekelo siyambona ndinethe if ndiye papa shop ingase ndifike ndiqhebe ndimke because kukho nalapho abangangena isepapa shop. So it's very difficult to do anything, especially for us abantu abazamayo to combat the crime. It's not easy. It's not even easy to raise kids because kuyenzeka umntanam umzekelo abantwana bam they would actually see robbed in front of them every day. Every day, going out, going to a shop. I couldn't even allow abantwana bam baye shop for quite some time because if we are shop.
And Khanyisa, I can imagine uxinzelelo lwengqondo libanalo ukuphila ubomi obunjalo. Umongameli Cyril Ramaphosa uthi ke ngoku uzawuzisa amajoni. Siyaqonda into yokubana into eyeke yabakhona lengaphambili. Ingaba mhlambe ninethemba into yokubana oku kuzawusiphula nengcambu ubundlobongela obuqubayo?
I like the fact that you say into eyeke yenzeka ngaphambili. Did we see any difference? No. Difference. Are we happy that they're back home? We're happy because Econ mentioned way that they're not here to police, but they're here to combat. We are still looking forward to seeing that happening because I see young people getting involved in crime every day. And I lost my job. I'm currently unemployed. And there's no one that wants to bring the safety facility. So maybe that will help. I'm raising 2 kids. I can't even take care of my kids. I have to take my kids back to Western Cape because I can't afford in the Salami currently. So will that assist? I know a lot of people that lost their jobs. I know a lot of people that lost their jobs through the crime. Would that happening? Yes, but I do not blame them.
Khanyisa, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. Siyathemba into yokubana oku kuzawusiphuleka nengcam because ibuhlungu kakhulu impilo othi niyayiphila. Mbukeli, we were chatting to uKhanyisa usuka pha ePhilippi eKapa. She is a victim of crime. Kunjalo nje Mbukeli, she was sharing challenges zakhe. Masiqhubeke Mbukeli evenkileni. We continue with the discussion. Welcome back. You're still tuning into your #1 youth show. This is Expression. Jonge Mbukeli umba ungonjoqo ubundlobongela obuqubayo eMzantsi Afrika nakubeni ke umongameli ethe kuzoba khona amajoni azawubeka esweni. We are wrapping this discussion with our guest Nicoline Trom and Thabang Bokhupa. Sivile uKhanyisa ibalisa ngebali lakhe libhlungu. I can imagine the psychological trauma of having to leave ePhilippi, and this is a reality for many young people in the country abaphila ubomi bontshontsho. Ithemba lomntu omtsha limepi.
Kolosa, just about weeks ago, there were 2 young boys that were kidnapped by the Zamazamas. One was found dead, and then the other one is still a guy called Ashley Skeppers in Randfontein, outside Randfontein in West Village. And that is the norm in these mining areas. And I don't know if you remember, a while back, residents went to the police station. An entire community was chased out of their homes by the Zamazamas. That the entire resident decided to go and squat at the police station. And the premier went and promised them houses instead of going to deal with the Zamazamas. That is showing you that even the government themselves, they do not have the willing power to deal with the issue. And that tells you that even when they deploy the soldiers, they still do not have the capacity to deal with the Zamazamas. Because the thing is, follow the money. Then you'll have solutions as to why this is happening. Because it is not just the Zamazamas. There's a lot of departments that are in this. The Department of Minerals and Energy is not saying anything with these open mine shafts. The JSE is also not saying anything for losing money in billions. Because it is billions that are losing.
Yeah, and I mean, kulendo ithethayo Nicoline Dokbana, there seems to be no political will. Siyaqonda Dokbana ziyaqhubeka ezingxaki. And unfortunately, oyena mntu obasekugqibeleni zi-victims. Madlanga and ad hoc really exposed into yokubana i-justice ayifumani apha eMzantsi Afrika.
I want to agree with Khanyisa and Nix, but beyond political will, what we need is also administrative will. We need people who are in positions of leadership to take leadership decisions. If it means suspending all those enablers in this police stations, in these departments, get rid of them.
But they are suspended, but they're still getting their salaries, just like our suspended.
You know, when someone is getting a salary while suspended, you can get rid of a lot of things and fix the system. Then deal with them. They can even forfeit the pension to the state later.
Yeah.
But at least let people take administrative firm decisions to protect our own people, especially the station commander issue, because it's close to my heart. We need station commanders who are able to I like to use this phenomenon called Mukwanazism, who can stand against crime. Not a station commander who will align with all the criminal gangs in the areas.
Madlanga did expose that. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. To continue with this topic. Thank you so much. First Lady RSA with a song titled Ngwele. Good night.